Maurice Nicol's Psychological Commentary, Volume 2, based on his work with Gurdjieff. Birdlip, March 3, 1945. Commentary on Inner Freedom. This is part 1 of 2. What do you understand by being more free? Sometimes this work has been defined as something to give more inner freedom. Is inner freedom doing what you like as you are now? As regards to the last part of the question, is inner freedom doing what you like as you are now? Most people answer that it does not consist in doing what you like. At the same time, I would say that it takes a long time to realize this. It takes a long time to understand that what we like does not give us freedom, but on the contrary is really a form of slavery until we attempt more consciously to go against doing what we mechanically like. Then we begin to see that what we like is not really what we do like. When we are governed by our passions, by our mechanical impulses, by our having our own way, we are not really quite comfortable in ourselves. To follow self-will does not lead to any real satisfaction eventually. In a matter of this kind, we have to start from a very sincere basis and not from a theoretical one, that is, from actual self-observation as to what happens when we simply do what we like, say, from our lazy side or from our sensual side or from our jealous side or from our negative side, and so on. I speak like this because it is so easy to say theoretically that one does not really like to do as one likes. We're always doing as we like. For example, we are always avoiding efforts that in a kind of way we know we should make. And until we genuinely acknowledge that by doing simply what we like at the moment, we are not at peace with ourselves, and that something deeper lies in us, until we see that this is quite true, we do not quite understand what the work is about. This point has been realized through all the ages and is one of the most extraordinary things in past experience. Is it not extraordinary to realize that people have always thought in all ages that they cannot simply do what they like? How can we account for this factor running through history unless we admit that other influences are acting on us than those through our self-will of our appetites? Here lies one of the turning points in our understanding of the work. Here lies a realization that something else acts on us than just having our own way. But I repeat that it must be internally realized that this is the case, that the pure self-gratification does not lead to any inner harmony. Now, as regards not doing what we like, we're first of all under the external laws of the country, which prevent us through fear from doing many things that we would otherwise do out of self-will. This is the first check, but please note that this is a purely external one. A man who obeys the law out of fear is not by any means a good man. Probably most people do not feel any other check in themselves and would, if there were no such thing as external laws and the fear derived from them, behave in a quite impossible way, because there is no internal goodness of being. So first of all, there have to be external restraints built up by the law to make any civilization possible. But there are also internal restraints that can act on us through the influence of the work. These are connected with real conscience. In other words, we must learn to distinguish between the two kinds of restraints. For example, through the development of inner taste, we realize the unpleasantness of negative states. But there is no external law about negative states. The police do not arrest you for being negative, but it'd be a very good thing if they did. All negative states in their full culmination lead on to violence, even to revenge, even to killing. Then, of course, the external laws step in. The commandment, thou shalt not kill, is first of all a literal one and refers to the actual law. But the psychological meaning is quite different. And as you know, psychologically, we kill a great many people and otherwise mutilate and harm them. That is to say, if we really did what we liked, we should be arrested by the police in this respect. The external laws, therefore, to a certain extent, prevent us from doing what we like. But the internal influence of the work can begin to act on us if we emotionally feel the work restrain us in quite a different way from doing what we like. As the work grows richer in understanding and more subtly connected, we begin to hesitate about many things that we were unaware of before. We begin to build up a new orientation to everything and to everyone, a new house, a new inner architecture. When this begins, we know that we cannot behave in certain ways, think and feel in certain ways, as we did before, with impunity. The whole approach to ourselves and the whole approach to the conception of other people begins to become a much more finer and far more interesting thing. When this happens, we begin to float, as it were, to lift ourselves off the ground, to learn how to sail. From all this arises second body, some organized body that consciousness begins to occupy, which is psychological, quite apart from our physical body and its reactions. Then we begin to have life in ourselves, to live in life, and not simply to be our reactions to life. We begin to live in our lives and to no longer be simply of life, of the world, of mechanical reactions to external events or to external things. Our psychology begins to be of the work and not merely of life. Then we know that we can do as we like or as we did like. Then we know that we cannot do as we like or as we did like, but have to have, in fact, to like another range of ideas, another meaning of ourselves, another mode of living in our lives instead of being simply our lives. If you simply do as you like mechanically, you are on earth, as it were. There is nothing to distinguish you from the earth, from life and its incidents. When you raise yourself up through the influences of the work, you learn to touch the earth differently. In fact, you come to the edge of the earth where it meets the sea. And then, so to speak, you begin to live in a different medium, to sail above the earth, to be in some vessel that is not the earth, a vessel that is real, so that you suffer if you step out of it. This journey, this voyage, has often been represented in esoteric myths. And this is the best way of understanding what the form of second body means. This is a psychological body, a psychological room that lifts you off the sensual earth of yourself. And to maintain this body, to keep it in repair and to develop it, you have to like another set of liking and another set of values, a new set of ideas. The work says work against dislikes. It also says in another connection, try to like what you dislike and dislike what you like. As I said, the best example is just to take is just to take negative emotions, which we like, and think deeply about your relation to them. Because when you realize that whenever you are negative, it is your own fault. whatever the external cause, you begin to have a completely new orientation formed in you, a new psychological body, and you will no longer take your pound of flesh, because if you do, if you like that, you will be right down on earth of yourself again, and all the workforce will leak from you at once. Every atom of increased consciousness will disappear, and you will be right down in the clangor and confusion of ordinary life. You will lose this body of the work, this boat, this ark. Now, several people say that we must put ourselves under more laws to become free. This is exactly what the work says. The work says that a man must put himself under the laws of the work, that is, under more laws in order to reach any development, which is freedom. All freedom in the esoteric sense is due to inner development, both on the side of knowledge and on the side of being. This forms in us a new level of understanding. A higher level of being is always freer than a lower level. To get to a higher level of being, you must put yourself under more laws than belong to your present level of being. We can live mechanically according to the laws belonging to our in a new way, more consciously according to the laws of a higher level of being. And this is the object of the work, which teaches us that we have to work on in ourselves to reach a higher level of being, not by simple obedience in a blind way, but by an intelligent perception of the new knowledge that the work is speaking about, that is, through understanding it, which is the most powerful force that we can create in ourselves. The work is not a series of literal commandments to obey like a decalogue, but a series of new ideas, new insights to make us think and see in a new way and gradually come to ourselves, to the truth of them from ourselves, from our understanding. You know that as one ascends in the ray of creation, one comes under fewer laws. It is very important to understand this idea, and this is why it is so often said that you must understand something about the meaning of the ray of creation.